Hey everybody, welcome back to the series. This week we're going to be finishing up the non-conference schedule. Coach Runt's got some good upset opportunities as we go into some tough environments like Syracuse and Kansas. Before we get into the games, we can check on recruiting. As you can see, Coach Runt must have been pretty convincing as we end up getting all five potential future starting five of the Crusaders. These players could be making an impact down the road. As these poor souls end up signing up for spending their next 4 years with Coach Runt and Naismith. To start off the video, we get to go to Illinois State, a team that we have an advantage over, and it looks like we're going to get off to a nice lead. Jamal Banks having a great game, and we're going to end up winning. So we end up getting about a 20-point win, led by, again, Jamal Banks staying hot. Damon Angelo struggled a little bit, but the rest of the team playing well. And then the next game before we head off to Syracuse should be another winnable one against SEMO. And we are going to end up winning that one, 78-100. And next up, we get to go to Syracuse. Upset opportunity. And they are pretty highly rated with all A-minuses, but definitely not the top tier, not an unwinnable game. But it will be made much more difficult by their home crowd, rated number 8 in the entire country for toughest places to play. And as we load into the game, you can definitely feel how much of an impact this crowd is going to have. But Coach Runt's going to have the boys ready to go. Even though we're in a one-bid league, probably going to have to win the conference to make the tournament. These are still big games to get ready should we make it that far and be ready for the moment come March. Syracuse is led by their star shooting guard and power forward, and Jim Boeheim, who is known for running the zone defense, so that's going to be something we definitely have to deal with. We're going to be moving pretty quickly through this one, but as you can see, starting off well with a layup to take the early lead. And this is exactly the type of thing we're going to need to do to win games like this. Against more talented opponents, Coach Runt really wants to speed them up and get them to turn the ball over and then get out and run in the fast break. And when we do get into the half court against Syracuse's zone defense, it's going to be tough. But a good sign here is Damon Angelo is getting off to a hot start. We're going to have to shoot well to keep up with Syracuse in this game, though, as they can hit shots like these. This game can be very frustrating when you're lower rated, but that's the reality of college basketball. But we get a turnover here from Cedric Teal and Damon Angelo running the break. They don't seem to care to guard him. But after this point is when it started to get ugly, as Syracuse would go on a run to close out the half. The crowd is making noise, coach is rattled, and this guy on the end of the bench is also not happy. And Syracuse running their sets, somehow gets the pass to go through, and they're going to go up 13 to end the half. One good sign, though, is Damon Angelo off to a hot start. Finally, we need that if we're going to be successful. But their power forward and shooting guard are really talented, and we're having a hard time guarding them. As you can see, we're struggling to shoot and rebound with them, but the turnovers are always going to be the deciding factor here for if we're ever able to have an upset like this one. It's having a tough time controlling the crowd, especially with their mascot doing things like this. Just tough to compete with that. And we really came out sloppy to start the second half, as you can see here. Basically turned the ball over twice. Their crowd is loving it. They're going to end up missing a layup, but we give up an offensive rebound and they end up putting it back up and in. And even when we do get opportunities, we're struggling to convert them. But Damon Angelo looking to keep the game close. He had the hot start, but he gets chased down, blocked. And we're keeping it somewhat close here, within striking distance, but just struggling to get stops. I think a large part of our problem here is having a anthropomorphic orange menacingly watching over us whenever we're on defense. And then another part of the problem is just falling over and them hitting ridiculous shots. This is definitely a disappointing one, as it felt like, even though it was a tough environment, there wasn't as much of a talent gap as you'd think. But it turns out there definitely was, as you can see displayed on this possession. But one thing you can say about this team is they're not going to get down, as despite being down 17, Cedric Teal is hyped about this foul. And as we dribble out this one, we end up losing by almost 30. A reality check for the squad, and Coach Runt's disappointed, but he's got to pay respects to the great video game Jim Boeheim. And it is still good to see Damon Angelo come alive. The rest of the team playing okay in the second half offensively. But defense in games like this is going to be the main issue, as they end up having some big games out of their stars, especially Clausen there putting up 29 points. Next up, we're going to play Portland, who's actually rated the same as Syracuse was. But we get them at home this time, so hopefully we can get a bounce back. So we're going to simulate through this one. Pretty close game in the first half. Solid games out of Teal, Banks, and Crockett. But they start to creep back into it at the end, so we're going to jump in with 50 seconds left. And this ended up kind of being a free throw fest, but we're at home, so we're actually able to make them. This guy knocks down a 3 to keep it close, but not too much action down the stretch here as we end up winning by 8. And pretty good bounce back performance. The team playing well at home especially, which is good to see. And Bill Crockett, very excited, flying around the stadium in celebration. And you can see why. He had a great game, 18 points, 20 rebounds. Great games out of Teal and Banks as well, each putting up 20 points. After a little break in the schedule, we get St. Joe's. We're going to be simulating through this one so we can get to our next big matchup. And we do end up picking up another win, 7-point win. And next up, we got Kansas. And this one's definitely going to be a very tough matchup, even more talented than Syracuse. Rated number 3 in the nation with pretty much everyone in the high 80s, and Wooden Award candidate Marcus Harrison at point guard. Coming off a reality check at Syracuse, this is definitely going to be a tough one, as Kansas, if you saw earlier, also rated number 6 on the toughest place to play. Allen Fieldhouse, definitely a historic venue, but the court is actually Naismith Court, so a little bit of family history involved here with Runt Naismith. One of the ways that we're going to be able to pull off the upset is really just getting a lot of shots up from turnovers and offensive rebounds and keeping the pace up. So that'll be a key factor if we're able to pull it off. But it's another opportunity for Coach Runt and the Crusaders to show who they are. They've done well in non-conference but haven't been able to pull off any of these big upsets like we're looking for. But we win the tip-off, running the offense to start the game, and you're seeing this clip right now, so that's got to be a good sign that something good's about to happen. Angelo posting up, gets it out to Crockett, and he knocks down the first shot of the game. Back on defense now. Banks with some pretty good defense, and they missed the shot. And we're going to get out and run right away. Banks gets it back, pulls up, and we're off to a 4-0 lead. And another minute or so later, Kansas on offense gets a decent look, but no good. And we're going to get out and run right away. Angelo running up the side, and he's going to pull up and gets a shot right in the heart of Kansas's mascot. But as we know, Kansas is a talented team, so they're going to make a shot and get right back. And once again, we're able to get to the line, but despite it being on the easiest difficulty possible for free throws, it's literally impossible to make them in this game on the road. But we're sticking to the game plan of playing really good aggressive defense as Navarre finds Banks inside on the break for a layup. And we're actually starting to build a little mini lead here, as they're playing really confident and making a lot of shots early on, and Mackenzie's going to continue that with a nice fadeaway. Marcus Harrison, though, is going to be a problem this game, as he's probably the most talented player we've played this entire season. 20 points and 5 assists per game. He's got the ball in his hand a lot, and able to knock down free throws unlike us. But he's still not perfect, as he throws a terrible lob into the crowd here. He's clearly very disappointed in his teammates there, but he's going to get the chance to make up for it as we turn it over in the pick and roll and give him a wide open layup the next possession. He's already got 7 points, and now he's got 9 points. Coach looking to put a stop to the run with a timeout. As we've seen with Purdue and Syracuse, it can get out of hand really quickly. And even during the timeout, you can see the crowd still making an impact. But out of the timeout, Teal is going to miss a mid-range shot, but Crockett's there for the rebound, and Angelo gets the second chance points. Big possession here as they're looking to start to pull away a little bit, but their freshman forward's got the ball, so we're going to put a little bit of pressure on them, but unfortunately Gill, their shooting guard, just picks it up in the corner and hits a contested 3. You can see we're starting to unravel a little bit now as we turn the ball over, almost, but pick it up and then end up taking a really bad layup. And now Teal wants to take things into his own hands. He's going to ISO a little bit, which we're fine with. He's our best player after all. And he's going to get a nice post move and finish. Coach Runt's starting to feel a little deja vu, though, to the Syracuse and Purdue games as we're just not able to make shots. They're shooting a lot better than us. and just feels like a lot more talent, and a tough environment is tough to keep up with. As they're isolating here, they find a guy in the corner, and he ends up dumping off to his teammate, and they get another bucket. The Crusaders need something to change the momentum here, and luckily they're going to get it as Cedric Teal with a huge block. They get out to run the break, Crockett running it, he gives it to Teal, who then finds Banks in the corner, and you know how that goes. Banks getting a little energy going here, but back on defense now, we're able to break up a lob there. Great play from Crockett, and Banks is out running the break. He dumps it off to Teal, who gets a nice layup. And it's been a nice response here since going down about 10 points, as the Crusaders looking to get it back within reason, and Teal with a nice move there but can't get the shot to go, but Crockett's there to clean it up. And a stop here would feel really big, as a 5-point deficit going into half with how this first half has been at times would just be awesome, but Harrison's got the ball, chucks it from deep, and almost gets it to go, but not quite. The Kansas crowd is definitely excited, and their bench is too. You gotta think they're not very concerned with us right now, but they don't know Coach Runt, as we're really still struggling to rebound and shoot at their level, but once again the turnovers have been huge. It says we only have 5 fast break points, but it's definitely been more than that. And I don't know what it is with mascots sliding into cameramen in this game, but whatever. Our first possession of the second half, running the offense through Teal, and Plummer in the corner hits a nice shot to make it a 2-point game. You can just feel the intensity out of the half for the Crusaders as they're really pressuring the ball, making Kansas uncomfortable. Good contest at the rim there, and we're going to head back down the other way. Plummer, feeling good out of the locker room, is going to hit a transition pull-up 3 and knock it down to take the lead. I'm not sure what Coach Runt gave these guys in the locker room, but it's definitely working, as Plummer stays hot to make it a 10-0 run to start the second half. We've really come out of the locker room strong here. Kansas is actually going to use one of their timeouts, and Bill getting the boys fired up as usual. Seems as though it was a great timeout though for the Jayhawks, as they do miss this layup but cut it down to a 1-point lead on the second chance opportunity. And we're struggling with their half-court defense too, so they've really ramped things up, and we end up settling for a bad layup. But if you missed it on the ticker, this is what's really been keeping us in this game. The turnover battle is really the only thing that we've been winning so far, but it's been huge. Anyways, once again, Kansas on offense moving the ball around well, and Harrison with a big contested 3 in the corner. And going on a little bit of a scoreless run here for 2 minutes. But once again, it's going to be great defensive play that's going to get us going again, as Banks gets a block and then a pull-up 3 in transition again. Harrison showing off some of that playmaking ability as we go for the fake and a big dunk there. Back on offense, down 1. Some good motion here as we get it to Plummer in the corner. He gets it inside to Angelo. Back out to Plummer, whose hot hand gives us the lead again. Great day so far from Brett the Plumber. And look at this shot from Teal, somehow managing to hit the back of the backboard. That's got to be a little embarrassing in a big moment. But it has been a great performance from everybody on the squad, taking one of the best teams in the country down to the wire. And a stop here would go a long way, but that's a huge bucket. And I'm not going to lie, this is the part of the game where I got really frustrated, because we had a wide open layup, and of course we end up getting fouled and I have to shoot free throws. And in a close game where we absolutely need these shots to pull off an upset, it's just impossible to make them, and we go 0 for 2. We're still only down 6 with a couple minutes left to play though, so not out of it yet, as Crockett misses the shot, but look who's there to clean it up, Jamal Banks. And next possession, need a stop. Damon Angelo gonna get in front of his man and take a charge in a huge moment. Great work there, but now we need a bucket, and Kansas is putting the pressure on. We're going to swing it around. Angelo gets it in the corner, gets to the rim, but good defense there, and we end up missing. Once again, need a stop if we want to stay in this game. We get a block, end up getting another block, and they shoot it off the side, but we just cannot get a rebound. And next possession, we're moving the ball around. Teal's got it inside. He finds the hot hand in Plummer, but he can't get it to go, as we've actually shot worse than normal from the 3-point line, and that's been a big factor. It seems like this one's going to be out of reach, unfortunately, as they get another layup. But you never know with Teal hitting shots like that, so anything could really happen. But the Jayhawks are high ranked for a reason, and in the big moments, they can go to their star player who gets another and one. And they actually end up taking a shot with the shot clock off. And a team led by Runt and Naismith is not going to like that, so we end up getting back down and getting it back to Banks in the corner, who makes it a little bit nicer of a loss. But Kansas is still going to come away celebrating this one. And obviously an unfortunate loss, but some really good takeaways. Banks and Teal playing good as usual. Plummer got hot. And we actually did a pretty good job of limiting Harrison. And although we probably won't get another chance for that big of an upset, at least until the tournament, there are a couple power conference teams still on our schedule. We get to host an underwhelming Mississippi State team, but they do finish the half on a run and end up being in a big lead. We pick up some ground to start the second half though, as Banks and Teal once again leading us in scoring, and we're in a close game down the stretch. And with just a 2-point lead at the end of the game, as you see in the bottom left, they actually have the ball off of a Plummer turnover, but Jamal Banks gets the steal and we end up winning. Teal and Banks really starting to separate as the true stars of this team with another great performance from both of them. Now we're going to simulate as we get a couple wins against some smaller schools, and we get to play one more really tough matchup against Arizona State on the road. We are going to simcast this one for the sake of time, might jump in if we need to, but we actually get off to a huge lead to start off. Great performance on the road, and this one was really never even in doubt. And as we look at the stats, Cedric Teal with 34 points and 18 rebounds. Clearly the main reason we were finally able to get a win over a tournament level team, and it's good to see him coming into his own after a slow start to the season. We do end up picking up another close win against Eastern Washington. We did really well in non-conference, but some of the wins against the weaker teams weren't as dominant as you'd like, so we'll have to see how it carries over into conference play. As mentioned earlier, the Patriot League is almost always going to be a one-bid league, so we'll still have to play well, but it might come down to the conference tournament at the end of the year. But as of now, we're definitely looking like the favorite with a pretty good non-conference performance, even with a tough schedule. And it definitely has been a tough schedule. As you can see, Kansas sitting at number 1, Purdue's currently number 9, and then Syracuse dropped a little bit, but still number 19 overall. So for those to be our only 3 losses is pretty good. Thanks again to everybody for watching. We're going to kind of play it by ear next video to see how much non-conference schedule makes sense for one video, but it shouldn't be too long before we're getting into conference tournament play and then hopefully NCAA tournament run here in Season 1.